So let's break down some of today's deal news with David Faber. David, we don't know where to begin. So many deals. You've been following all of them, and it seems like there's this theme of some are being done for tax reasons, like Medtronic, some are done for strategic reasons, and they're all bold and transformational. Why are we seeing all of these right now?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we're seeing an incredibly robust merger and acquisition market in contrast to what we've seen really for the last, 5 years since the crisis. Even though we expected it might get going, it finally has. That's broadly speaking because of things like CEO confidence, rising stock prices, the ability to negotiate a merger agreement because you do have a relatively not that much volatility in the stock market. Then you get to things that are driving them, as you say. Tax inversions. That's what we call when a U.S. company says, OK, we're buying an Irish company in the case of Medtronic, and we're then going to become an Irish taxpayer, lower our rate, and also, perhaps even more importantly, generate a lot of cash outside the U.S. that we can then bring back without having to pay taxes on it. The inversions have taken place, Susie, most prominently in the pharmaceutical sector, in healthcare, a la Medtronic and Covidien. By the way, Covidien, an Irish company? Not really. It's the old U.S. Surgical from Tyco. Remember that name? I mean, they're Irish like all these companies are Irish. They got an address in Ireland, but they're not Irish companies. They're U.S. companies, but they are doing that because they maintain that the U.S. tax regime right now, especially as it treats foreign profits, is not competitive, and they're looking to get out when they can. Pfizer, AstraZeneca, the largest example, that deal did not happen, but they were looking at it as well because it would lower the rate and also, importantly, allow them to bring money back without having to pay taxes.
What's the motivation with the level 3 TW Telecom?
Well, not that strategy doesn't play a role in all of these, Tyler. I mean, Medtronic will tell you we're doing this deal for strategic reasons, you know, the Affordable Care Act and what that means for buying. But in the case of level 3, it's not for taxes, obviously. It's not an inversion. It's in some ways another one of these deals where you're kind of responding to a certain extent to Comcast's plan to buy Time Warner Cable. Now, that is largely about consumers, but there are also business customers there. This tie-up is about the business customer, about 36,000 buildings that they'll now be wired into and offer service to, for example, to business customers, and what they can do in terms of synergy, there's that word, and accretion, and helping them raise the top line, meaning revenue growth as well.
You know, you just talked about Time Warner Cable, and today, New York State at least started hearings to get public comment on the Time Warner Comcast $70 billion deal. Give us an update on where you think that whole thing's going.
I mean, it's going to take a while. They originally, and Comcast, of course, our parent company, when they announced the deal, they had hoped they would close it before the end of this year. Many people were immediately, including myself, somewhat dubious on that. These things can take a long time. My guess is it probably doesn't close. They don't get all the approvals they need until early next year. That being said, there are very few people who don't think the deal will still get approval. But we see these kinds of regulatory concerns or in-country concerns in the case of GE and Alstom where you just don't know, including, by the way, the Chinese antitrust authorities. That's called MOFCOM. That plays a big role in, as well. Certainly stretches these deals out for a long time. And you just don't know if you're going to get the antitrust approvals you always need.
One thing we do know, we're going to see a lot more of these deals coming up.
There are more coming.
David, thank you so much for coming by, talking to us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.